On this channel, we talk about how to achieve freedom through health and wealth. Today's video, we will break down how breakfast became the most important meal of the day, and also how to properly break the fast, which is what breakfast truly means. So we all know that breakfast is the most important meal, but is that really true? Well, yes and no. Let me explain why in this video. But first, let's learn more about how breakfast even became the so-called most important meal of the day. Until the mid-1800s, most Americans were farmers. Farmers would fuel their long, strenuous days with large country breakfast in the morning. You know what I'm talking about. Bread, sausage, eggs, potatoes, bacon, grits, country ham. Sorry if I just made you a little hungry. In the late 1800s, people began to worry about indigestion as the Industrial Revolution saw people move from the farms to the office and the factories. And as Hippocrates, father of Western medicine, has taught us, all disease originates from the gut. Cured meats and eggs somehow got the blame for indigestion. Conveniently, around the same time, James Caleb Jackson and John Harvey Kellogg invented the cereal. They used religion, marketing, and lobbying to cement the cliche that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And of course, you should have their product, a bowl of cereal. This concept was further cemented when vitamins was discovered in the 1940s, leading to fortified cereal being the food of choice for busy mothers who were entering the workforce. Of course, hey Johnny, grab a bowl. The idea became even further cemented when the father of public relations, Edward Bernays, he literally has the father of public relations written on his tombstone. Edward used ideas of his uncle, Sigmund Freud, oh, we've heard of him before, to help convince the public that bacon and eggs were the true American breakfast. He also knew that scientific research and getting backing from doctors was very powerful, which we still use till this day. Just take a look at Coca-Cola's impact on health organizations here in America. Coca-Cola and Pepsi has been funding at least 96 national health organizations, including the American Diabetes Association. Somebody make it make sense. So Edward would get 5,000 signatures from doctors on a statement stating that breakfast with bacon and eggs was far healthier than a light breakfast. Then he got newspapers to publish this as scientific research. So there we have it, a clever combination of marketing in magazines, scientifically backed proof, and great psychological techniques to make breakfast the most important meal of the day. Now let's fast forward to today. Americans still emphasize breakfast as the most important meal of the day. And even though we don't know where the concept comes from, and what's interesting is that we say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but our breakfast consists of foods with very little nutritional value, a bunch of carbs, calories, and sugar. And even worse, we see young people, mostly some old people too, starting with a sugary Starbucks and a vape pen as their first meal. Yum. The reason why these low nutritional foods are a bad choice for breakfast is because of this. We start our day like this. There's a huge spike in our blood sugar levels, and the bigger the spike, the bigger the crash. And when our blood sugar levels is high, it results in high insulin in our bodies, which switches us from burning fat overnight in a fasted state to burning and craving more sugar. Then our body needs more sugar. We eat more sugar, which as a result makes us even more hungry, quicker, more tired. And then we have to lean on coffee or a 5-hour energy drink to get through the rest of the day. It is a roller coaster throughout the day. So what should you do? Well, the truth is, it depends. Yes, I know it's a little annoying, but it does. For example, if you're a farmer and you're going to do manual labor for 8 hours, your needs are very different than maybe someone like myself who sits behind a computer for 8 hours. So here are the variables to consider, and then I'll share some options, and then you can decide what is best for you. Number one, in the morning, we have two main options, either eat or fast. Let's take the fasting first. Here we have two very important hormones in our body, insulin and glucagon. When insulin is high and glucagon is low, the body is burning carbs or sugar for energy. When glucagon is high and insulin is low, your body's burning fat for energy. While you are sleeping, while we're sleeping, snoring away, we move more towards a high glucagon, low insulin, or burning fat because you're not eating unless you're sleep eating. That's also why you look a little slimmer after waking up. For most Americans, thanks to John Kellogg and company, we wake up and we have a bowl of sugary cereal, maybe some bread, some croissant, or even worse, sugar-filled Starbucks and a vape pen. So what happens? Glucagon drop, high blood sugar, high insulin, which means we're burning sugar for energy. Keep in mind that carbs raise blood sugar levels way more than protein and fat. This can be okay if you are a farmer in the early 1800s, but most of us are going to sit at a desk for like 8 hours. Remember, the higher the spike, the more dramatic the drop. While you're sitting at your desk and that blood sugar level and insulin drops like a rock, you get hungry again and you have to eat something. So you go yo-yoing back and forth on that roller coaster. And the thing is, you're most likely going to crave the thing that you just had, like sugar again. So when you wake up in the morning from a period of fasting where you have high glucagon levels, low insulin, low sugar equals fat burning for energy, that is a great opportunity to extend your fat burn zone if possible. I'm not saying you have to, but if possible. I'm not saying don't eat, because remember, it depends on the number of variables. So if you need or choose to eat, it is important to focus on protein, fiber, and fat so you can avoid the huge spike in blood sugar levels followed by an equivalent drop. And you can stay off the energy roller coaster for the day. How you break your fast or breakfast is indeed, based on what we just went through, very important. This doesn't mean that one must eat the first thing that you wake up in the morning. It also does not mean that one must eat foods that we have come to know as breakfast foods. Now, here's where I have to make a confession. I am a recovering carboholic, yes, and these are actually some of my favorite foods that I no longer really eat. Cereal, French toast, pancakes, waffles, all the refined carbohydrates and sugar and syrup. But you know what? I'm actually totally fine. Yeah. Again, how we break our fast is important. For example, eating too much or too quickly after a period of not eating too can also cause issues, bloating, stomach pain, nausea. For me, eating things like nuts and dairies and seeds and raw veggies are a bit tough without a little warm up of the system. So you have to find, by being your own scientist, more on this later, what works best for your body. Consider that hydration is just as important, if not more important, than solid foods. We can only go 3 days without water, but much, much longer without food. For example, consider Angus, a Scottish man who fasted for 392 days from June 14th, 1965 to July 11th, 1966. And lost 276 pounds. Lived on tea, coffee, sparkling water, and vitamins. Not saying you should do this, just a story, just an example. So how is this possible? Well, we have to take a look at the 5 stages of fasting by Dr. George F. Cahill from Harvard. Must be right, from Harvard, right? To understand this, let's look at the stages of fasting. First, we have the feeding state. That is where the body is digesting or absorbing food. Again, insulin high, glucagon low, burning carbs, glucose, sugar for energy. The body is also storing a bit for harder times. Stage 2, post-absorptive state. Insulin starts to drop. The body starts to burn more of the stored glucose for energy. Stage 3, gluconeogenesis. Stored glucose is starting to run out and we're starting to switch to fat for energy. This is where we also see a very, very, very important process, autophagy. That is the process in which the body begins to recycle damaged cells and proteins. Stage 4, ketosis. The liver turns fat to ketones for the brain. And stage 5, protein conservation begins. Almost all energy is coming from fat. Hunger almost disappears. This can continue as long as the fast is sustained. This is the key to how folks like Angus and other folks in history, hunger strikes, etc., were able to maintain a fast. Most people also forget that we don't just get energy from the food that we eat. We get energy from a lot of different things. 7 doctors, for example: hydration, sleep, breathing, music, scent, sunlight, laughter, all of these things, which I'm sure also helped Angus stay on this fast longer. Unfortunately, people only hear stories like Angus when it comes to fasting, and they think the sole purpose is to lose weight or burn fat. But there's actually a lot of other factors and variables to consider, most of which I can't even really cover because this video is way too long already. But I will cover the importance of gut health. Hippocrates, again, father of Western medicine, taught us that all disease originates from the gut. Traditional Chinese medicine also speaks extensively on the importance of the gut. When the gut is fine, there may be no issues, but when it is not, we start to see issues like bloating, energy drain, sleep issues, skin issues, sugar craving, food intolerance, acne, eczema, migraines, mood swings, bad breath. Yes, also comes from the gut. And mood. I've experienced this one myself on a different level. Anxiety, lack of concentration, all of these things. This list may seem long, but Hippocrates again tells us all disease originates from the gut. Traditional Chinese medicine also teaches us that our external condition is a direct reflection of our internal health. Take my personal story, for example. I followed all the traditional health advice. I was lifting heavy, tracking my macros, eating my 1 gram of protein for body weight. But what did I get for all this? Back pain, mental fog, decreased athletic ability. I just didn't feel great. So for a few years, I had to see several specialists, and I realized I needed to address my gut issues. I kind of stumbled upon it, honestly. And that's when everything really started to shift, with maintaining my aesthetics with very little effort, maintaining my energy and my performance. Now, I didn't address it by dry fasting, but instead for me, I did a lot of juice fasting, or what I call juice feasting. I've outlined this exact process in my Gut Right handbook. 3 different methods. You choose the one that's right for you. Just go ahead and comment on this video, vacation, or get me the book, and I'll do my best to get it to you. There is a difference between dry fasting, water fasting, juice feasting with extracted micronutrients from plants or animals, all of which I've outlined in the book. Think about it. If Dr. Cahill's research applies mostly to dry fasting, what changes when one introduces micronutrients in the form of plants or animals? Well, we can assume the timeline changes a bit. I haven't found any definitive research on this. If you have, go ahead and comment, send it to me. I'm always open to learn, but I have experimented with this personally over the years quite a lot. And that's what I've documented. So you can go ahead and pick it up and experiment and test for yourself. The thing that is most important about all these methods is important of an empty system and activating the body's self-cleaning mechanism. The colon, for example, can hold 20 to 25 pounds of fecal matter, including undigested food. And research shows, we're going to put it up here, undigested food and gut microbiomes may help in the causes of a lot of neuroinflammatory diseases. Not a doctor, just pointed it out. Drinking or eating certain things on an empty stomach can be very, very helpful to your gut, even if you're not particularly interested in losing weight or dropping body fat. So it doesn't matter if you practice intermittent fasting, water fast, dry fast, juice feast, or any of that type. It just depends on your situation and several variables. These are typically not permanent lifestyles for most people. So the most important thing is how you break your fast and how you refeed. Then we typically focus on the lifestyle that is best for you based on your environment, your genetic makeup, your access, your resources that you have, and all of these variables. So this is where we have to discuss what got us our problems in the first place. There are a lot of variables, but the main one that we have to look at is our modern food environment. So let's cover a couple of things. Most people know that fast food can be problematic. I mean, we won't spend as much time on this, but it's common knowledge at this point that there are a lot of issues with fast food millions of different ingredients that you can't even pronounce, etc. Number two, one of the biggest issues is how we allow corporations to grow, package, and transport our foods and tell us what to eat, how much of it to eat. For example, 10 companies control more than like 50 brands here. Now, what about whole natural foods like fruit, meat, and vegetables? Unfortunately, a lot of these have been influenced by the almighty dollar as well. I mean, look at this. Fruit engineered to be sweeter and bigger for profits. Produce sprayed with toxins. Animals like chicken and cows injected with hormones and over-farmed and overfed. And then they use the same marketing tactics and strategies to sell us these products. So to drive home the point once and for all, the fake solutions won't make us healthier. Counting calories, tracking macros, doing a ton of workouts, all of those things do not address the issues that we just talked about. I mean, you can look good, like I did, by following these methods, but I can assure you that you won't feel great or perform at a high level for an extended period of time, for your lifetime. So what are some of the solutions, at least that worked for me and perhaps you would want to try? Number one, first, make a transition by giving your whole entire system a proper vacation, aka improving your gut health. Number two, transition to real quality, local, whole foods packed with nutrients. Number three, then incorporate the 7 doctors in your life: movement, water, sun, fresh air, healthy food, as we talked about, laughter, sleep. Number four, establish a closed loop system of input and output, meaning we become our own scientists, testing and paying close attention to when we put something in, how does it make me feel? And when we introduce new inputs, what is the output? And then making adjustments from that. Guys, I'm Coach Khabib. If you found any value in this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and send it to a friend who could find this information useful as well. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time this time. And until next time, peace.